A very warm welcome. We apologize for starting a little behind schedule. On one slot, we search for unique African solutions by exploring the vast experiences of our guests, one at a time, on their various areas of expertise. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. Industrialization is widely accepted as the key to sustainable growth and development of an economy. In Africa, it is seen as a winning strategy that will accelerate job creation in addition to supporting the continent's sustainable structural transformation. But this recognition hasn't yet translated to increased growth for the continent when compared to other developing regions in terms of industrial performance. As it stands, Africa is at the bottom of the global value chain with its share of global manufacturing at around only 1.9%, and the continent's leaders are concerned. One of the outcomes of African Union's reflection on how to employ industrialization to change the status quo is the creation of an SME development strategy and action plan. Adopted in February 2019, the AU SME strategy provides policy guidelines that aim to, among other things, improve the continental business environment, support formalization of growth-oriented informal enterprises and startups, increase SMEs, MSMEs, and entrepreneurs' participation in regional and global value chain, as well as promote innovative financing. It's all quite a mouthful, no doubt, and that is why we have invited an advocate of Africa's industrial development to help break it down, to assess how we can address the challenges to the inherent potentials of SMEs to galvanize Africa's industrialization goals. My guest is Osman Omar, a senior policy advisor on the Industry, Department of Industry at the African Union. Before this, she held various senior positions within Djibouti's Ministry of Trade and Industry, reaching the most senior civil servant position as permanent secretary to the Ministry of Trade, SMEs, Handcraft, Tourism, and Formalization. No better person for this conversation, I would think. She joins us all the way from Addis Ababa. A very warm welcome to you, Ran.
Thank you very much.
Why does Africa's industrialization matter, and what role does SMEs play in it?
Actually, industrialization matters for every continent and every country, and it's the same. When you talk about developed country, you talk about industrialized country. No one develops without industrializing. Industrialization is the center of the development for every country and for every continent. All the developed countries are the industrialized country. So in Africa, if we do not industrialize, we will not develop. It's as simple as it is.
So what role does True, that is very true. I just needed us to establish that as we begin this conversation. But what role is it for SMEs? What roles does SMEs play in this industrialization drive?
Actually, SMEs are the biggest number of enterprises in Africa, but also in most of the other countries or continents. They account for almost 90% in Africa, and then is the same. In Germany is the same. In Switzerland is almost the same. In Korea or in Japan. So in SMEs are the backbone of the economy in every country, and it's the same in Africa.
So would it be fair to say that SMEs account for about 90% of Africa's economies? Yes,
it is. They account for almost 90% of the Africa's economy. But this is nothing different. They account also for the same for a lot of big other countries.
Okay, there's comments that while it is important, there are two other areas that are stronger, and that is trade and industry. But SMEs is the connection between them. Could you explain why that is?
Actually, we talk about trade, and in Africa, we talk less about industry. Those two are linked. You trade what you produce. And in Africa, we only trade raw materials. And we account for less than 2% of the global trade. While we are too much busy talking about trade. While industry is the production, value addition, manufacturing, means transforming whatever you have. So you first industrialize, you first produce, and then you trade, then you sell. When you are in the market, there is in selling, there is selling and there is buying. Everyone can buy as much as we have a few financing means. But for you to sell, you need to produce. And for you to sell with big benefits, you need to add value on what you have. So we do produce a lot of things. We are actually the number one in most of the commodities, minerals commodities, but we exported them raw. And then we do not gain a lot of benefits from it. We do not gain jobs from it, and we do not get wealth from it. So we need to industrialize, we need to add value to whatever we have, agriculture commodities, cacao, cotton, whatsoever. We need also to add value to our mineral resources. That's what the industrialization means, when you add value on what you have, and then you trade it.
Fantastic. So basically, Assamese is helping us harness and get what we need in order for us to truly industrialize. Before we come to talk about the AU SME strategy, I wanted to explain to us a little the connection between Africa's young population, the SMEs, and the drive to industrialize Africa. Well, how are they interconnected? Because most times when you hear the conversation around industrialization, you say you have a very young population in Africa. Why do we have on the young population in Africa when we talk about SMEs?
Actually, the young population are the workforce that we have. So we have, I told you, a lot of raw materials in agriculture and also in minerals. And we do have also energy, we have oil, we have gas, and we have also renewable energy, we have the sun, and we have the wind that we can use also. So the young population is part of the ingredient of also developing our continent, developing through industrialization. So what you need is to have work people that are able to work in the industries, in the enterprises. And we do have a lot of, we do have actually the youngest population, and we have the biggest number of young people. And this young population is a force for us to industrialize, means to develop.
Tell us about the AU SMEs strategy and the drive behind it.
Actually, we in the African Union Commission, we developed a certain number of strategies to support the development of the continent. And you know certainly about the Agenda 2063 and the Africa we want. We also have the boosting intra-Africa trade. We have the accelerated industrial development of Africa. We recently developed also the commodity strategy, which is all talking about industrializing and also developing the continent. And in 2019, as you said, we developed this specific strategy that targets the SMEs. And we think that developing the SMEs, as we already said, that they account for the biggest percentage of the Africa economy, that supporting the development of the SMEs will support the development of the continent.
Okay, it proposes to do a lot of things, and among them is to, what's the word now, formalize the growth-oriented informal enterprises. It also has, let me see here, increase SMEs, improve the continental business environment and all of those beautiful words. But for the benefit of those watching and that might not really understand what it's all about, could you break it down for us? Maybe let's start with the formalization of informal startup. How will that work really?
Actually, most of the industries need three main things. They need access to knowledge, access to market, and access to finance. So whenever you go in these three sectors, in SMEs need support. And you were talking about business environment. Actually, there is a certain number of institutions that need to support the SMEs, like the quality infrastructure, the intellectual property rights office, the custom department, but also the departments that deal with the registration of the SMEs. So we do have a big number of SMEs in the continent, but also a big part of them, I cannot say the percentage now, are in the informal sector, and also a lot of startups, growth-oriented, technology-oriented startups work in silo without any support. So this SME strategy is also targeting, beside the access to the market, access to the finance, also to let them formalize, means to let them come into the formal sector.
Okay, I think the network interrupted you for a bit, but I think we got essentially some of your contribution. There's a whole lot of issues when it comes to this going through the SME route to try and industrialize Africa. What we're going to do is take a break at this time, and when we return, I'll be picking out some of the major challenges, some of the issues with the SME's route to industrialize the continent and what is being done to address it, and maybe hopefully new ways, if possible, to stay with us. Good to know you're still with us. This is One Slot. I'm your host, Felicity. I still have my guest, Osman Omar. She is the senior policy advisor, on industry at the Department of Industry at the African Union. Thank you for staying with us. Okay, before we went on the break, I talked about us taking on some of the challenges with the growing SMEs in Africa. Just off the top of your head, what are some of the challenges that comes to mind? Maybe we'll take it one after the other if we can. What are some of the challenges with growing the SME sector?
Actually, the SME sector in Africa face three major challenges, which are the access to knowledge and to information, to skills also, access to market, and access to finance.
Finance, because that one is always popping its head. Small businesses. Ron, do we have you still? Hello? Okay, I think the network took you. Can you hear me?
The access to finance actually is the most
okay, I think the network is...
Yes, I can hear you. So I was telling you that the access to finance actually is the most, how we say, actually it's not even the most, I can see you, but I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, so we were talking about the access to finance. Actually, one may think that the access to finance is the most important challenge that SME face. It's a very important challenge, but actually it's not the most important. What is most important is the access to skill, actually, and the access to the information for the SMEs to get the right financing, because there is a lot of finance actually that are available for the SMEs, but they don't know. They don't know where to get this finance, and they don't know how to get it. And whenever they have this information, actually, they don't know how to apply on these finance institutions, and also they do not have the enough paperwork, enough record to apply to this finance that are available in different institutions.
So what are we doing with the education part? Because if there is abundance of help financially and the people that need it are not accessing it, one would wonder what use the funds are for. So what are we doing education-wise to make sure that as much as possible this underserved population get the information that they need?
Actually, what we are doing, which is part of the Assamese strategy in the African Union Commission, is to have what we call Enterprise Africa Network, which will enable SMEs to get the information, the skills, the capacity building, mentorship, for them to be able to have the records that they can apply to financing. And whenever they are getting more knowledge, more training, more support, they will be able to apply for more finance also. So it's a kind of three different system that goes together, that will help them first to get the knowledge and the skills, and then to get the finance. And whenever they get the finance and the knowledge, they go to get the market. Will it be national, continental, or international market? So
what would be your... go ahead,
tool.
Sorry, go ahead.
Now, I was telling that we will be using this tool to take them through different steps. Then they can apply for small amount of finance. Then as far as they grow, they can also apply for more finance, for $1,000, and then for maybe $5,000 for because most of the time the finance are available in big institutions like Afrexim Bank, African Development Bank, and SMEs do not have access to those big institutions. What we are planning to do also, actually we're doing a Sme Annual Forum, the first Sme Annual Forum in Cairo, starting from the 27th of June until the 1st of July. And in that forum, we'll be focusing a lot on financing, and we will train SMEs. It will be an hybrid event. So the one who can come will come, but the others can participate online. And they can register on the African Union website, and they can follow the trainings online. So we will focus on the training on finance to the SMEs to get them finance literacy, but we'll also focus on intermediate financing institutions, where we will have to discuss with them and see how they can also deliver and boost the SMEs, the financing to the SMEs. At that forum, we'll also give training on quality infrastructure, because it's very important for the access to market.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive, some of the things you've reeled out that's being done. Ron, I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, we're having a bit of a challenge with network today, but hopefully she can hear me. Can you hear me, Ron?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. I was just saying that
let me just finish on the training.
Okay, go ahead.
Then we'll have a training on intellectual property rights, because it's very important also that SMEs know how.
Okay, I think we are having a bit of a challenge. The network has interrupted again. Hopefully we can get her right back on, but let's just go on a breather. Let you get some coffee as well. We'll be right back. The conversation is important. SMEs in the path to industrialization in Africa. Stay with us.